She is.
She's got flip-flops on. She's just taken extra flip-flops.
Well, she's only done it to annoy you.
It just looks like a car boot sale where everyone's forgot the cars.
Photoshopped out of the picture.
It does rather, doesn't it? What it is in Britain, the sport, if I can call it that,
You may not.
involves dozens of competitors. Oh, my God.
She's got a worm on her T-shirt.
She's got a worm on her shirt.
Oh, bless her.
I don't know if that's a worm. I don't think we should look at that.
Oh, dear. You have to lure as
Ken
many
Dodd,
worms
right.
as you can in 30 minutes.
With a recorder.
Well, with anything you choose, you can just tap the.
And why the time constraint? Is that because it's just you're out on day release?
Well, possibly the low point was in Woodhall. The Woodhall Worm Charming Festival in Lincolnshire. None of the entrants in August 2010 managed to lure a single worm.
This is
Not
the Worm
one.
Charming Festival, isn't it?
Those people inside at the time. Were they in a building? Is that right?
Yeah, it was raining. We had to do it in the church hall. I'm getting nothing.
Nothing.
This festival's rubbish.
How did they decide the
Pretty
winner
t-shirt.
if nobody actually lured any
Well,
worms?
a spokesman said they were all winners because they raised more than £200 for the Woodhall Spa Twinning Association. I don't know
How did
who
they-
Woodhall is twinned with.
I don't think it's twinned with anyone. I
Some
think it has a
Russian
suicide
psychiatric
pact.
unit.
Why has she got a string on her fork? What's going on
So
with
she
these?
knows that that's her fork, like when you're at the airport. If your case going round, you put a ribbon on, don't you?
At least when you go train spotting, there are trains.
That's the best thing. The train spotters are stood on the hill going, losers! Get alive!
Oh dear, it's true.
Digging, Cynthia, they're only jealous.
Well, the fact is, yes, you can vibrate worms to the surface by pretending to be a mole. Now, when would you go out with a bucket full of ladybirds?
What about if you had a bit of spare time and your hobby was collecting ladybirds?
Yes.
Does that work?
It might, but why do we like ladybirds?
Don't they kill...
Green fly.
Greenfly, yeah, they're very good pest control animals. And
Are you
can...
sure they're not pests? I think they might be.
Well, they're a pest if you're an aphid, obviously. But as far as we're
I
concerned...
thought you said if you were an atheist.
That's a fantastic idea.
Bloody ladybirds proving the existence of God again. There must be a God because they're so adorable.
Well, they're sold on the internet to gardeners, and the idea is that they help you with your aphid control problem. But
Sorry, they're all alive in a bucket. You can just get them.
yeah, you can. There's all
Wow.
kinds of insects you can buy. I remember buying for a conservatory. You can buy a gall wasps. I think they were. There was some sort of pest I had in a conservatory.
Did they just ring the bell? And two wasps turned up. We're here about the aphids. Where do you want us?
But the ladybirds are very helpful, obviously. But the problem with them is if you order them on the internet and you get a bucketful, if you release them, they'll simply fly away. So there's a secret to it. You release them at night because they don't fly at night. So you release them into your garden at night and they'll go to work and do what they can. Then during the day they may fly away, but they may by then have eaten quite a lot of your aphids.
Why don't they fly at night? Do we know?
They prefer not to. I
I'll
don't
see
know.
where they're going.
We don't have an answer to that.
My mum used to be like that driving.
Why not just go to them individually and sort of break a bit of wing? And then keep them in your garden.
Well, you do want them to fly a bit.
Oh, that's like...
Well, that's what I said, break a bit. I didn't say smash both.
That's like the insect equivalent.
Break it a bit so they can have a bit of aspirational flight, but they can't escape.
Cool.
Well, I haven't
Those
paid for them
wilts.
online. It's not like I go out picking on random ladybirds, is it?
It's slavery is what it is.
No. What it is, it's about getting your money's worth.
A bucket full of ladybirds.
Yeah.
Now, how did the thing with the amazing eyes escape from the tank? Look at that.
Pardon?
It's known as a mantis shrimp, although it isn't a true shrimp, but it's a crustacean.
Doesn't sound like it's anything.
It does look amazing, doesn't it?
I don't know what we're looking at. Are those the eyes on
The
the...
top bits of the eyes, which in themselves are extraordinary because they're divided into three, so they have three types of vision in each eye. Look at it there.
Like bifocals.
Yes, they are. They've got two of these eyes, but even more than that, they have power. They have power that is almost
jump.
beyond belief.
They can cut through glass.
Hang on,
Well-
this is sounding like Saturday morning kids' TV. They have power beyond belief.
They do. It's extraordinary.
Is it the power of prayer, Stephen? Do they pray? Do they pray to get out of the tank to the little baby Jesus?
They're
and
mantis
suddenly-
shrimps, but they're not praying mantis shrimps. No.
Do they-
Nice, though. Come on.
They can accelerate through the water at 10,000 times the force of gravity, which causes the water in front of them to boil. That is, I know it sounds mad, but that's how extraordinary they are.
That seems like a disadvantage, because then suddenly, when you stop, you're in boiling water. I seem to have cooked myself. So they will cook themselves?
Well, they have this amazing power. They've been known to break out of aquarium glass with one strike of their claw. They can actually break the glass. That's how they get out of their claws.
Have we got footage of this?
I can show you one punching its prey.
Punching a man.
It'd better have a kapow.
That's it on the left there. And this is obviously massively slowed down. And there's it. Bang.
Ooh.
And that was a real... There you go. Whoa.
That is just insect domestic violence.
Really is. They're very powerful creatures. They have these 3 sections of each eye. They can see ultraviolet, infrared, polarized, and they're the only creature on Earth that can see circularly polarized light.
Does that mean they can watch Avatar without the glasses?
Yes. Exactly what it means, basically. They're very, very remarkable creatures.
Where do these fellas live?
Vietnam. That's where you'll find them. Would you like to see a shrimp on a running machine?
More than you know.
All right, then. Take a look at this.
It's at the Iceland Research Facility. How good's that?
That's pretty good, isn't it?
They've not put it with a stop button.
No, I know. It doesn't have control. And do you know, they can go 3 hours before they get exhausted.
What's he got on the iPod?
Yeah, what are they
He does
listening
look
to?
much slimmer than he did at the beginning of the footage.
There are various excuses that scientists have given for why
Doing
they...
that.
Was it mainly boredom?
See, and I was kicked out of there for just breaking one wing on the Ladybird, and look what they were.
What was they doing?
Are they doing any sort of research into Mary Rose sauce? Because really you need the two together
Well,
in a wine glass.
It's like shrimp horse jumping. Whenever the white light comes on, it jumps it.
who does it? Oh, yes. There you are.
Whoa! Hey! And he's hopping up here now on the third turn. And he's looking strong. He's not looking back. He's lost his jockey, but he's still
Well,
in
the man responsible is called Professor David Sholnick at Pacific University in Oregon.
He gives his name out.
Yes, he said these studies will give us a better idea of how marine animals can perform in their native habitat when faced with increasing pathogens and immunological challenges. How? I have no idea. We have to take his word for it.
I'm waiting to see a crab with some dumbbells.
It is strange though when you look at that, because we were talking about it earlier, that, you know, shrimp, it is an insect, but we quite happily eat that.
Yes.
Pick the legs off it, take the head off, and...
I know,
delicious.
and lobsters and things. As you say, we'll happily eat them as a treat. But these, oh God. It's not done me any favours, and I felt so confident I was going to have the scorpion as well. Not now.
I love the scorpion.
Would you have the scorpion?
I love the scorpion.
Oh, my dear fellow. There you are.
Well, those fellas are
So
really...
you mean you're going to take
Well,
it
I've
out?
had those. The aftertaste of them is just horrendous. It is there for hours, but I'll have that.
Yep. You're going to eat it now in front of us?
Well, I'll put it on in my mouth. It might.
Yeah.
I'll break it in half. And
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Make it manageable.
Yeah.
Half the poison, half the fun.
How'd you do it?
God.
You're telling me something, innit?
Wow, that is one tough...
I think the scorpion might be alive. I think it might be like Han Solo.
Hey!
Oh, not anymore, it's not.
Right, tail end or front?
Well, I would go for the front. The tail end might have a sting in it or something.
Always ask a lady.
Yeah. Hey! Oh. James.
Oh.
Well, you could hardly break the thing, so...
Come back in 9 hours.
Oh, you're having one too. Good for you. Excellent.
Well, I've been licking the brittle and I thought I was going to be here all night.
Yeah.
I was eating it like a club biscuit.
So
Scalded the chocolate off.
Is it quite sweet in there? Is it sugar? It's basically sugar, isn't it?
It's horrible, the brittle.
Can't feel my toes.
It's like hemlock. It just works all the way up.
It's like bonfire night with death.
Go on, Sarah. You know you want to.
You've got to be joking.
Have a lick anyway.
Is this what you had, the chocolate ant?
Chocolate
Sarah, just
ant.
think, what if we all developed superpowers as a result of this? How could you eat that? He has the power.
You saw what it did to me.
He has the power of nausea.
That is absolutely repellent.
It is,
As
isn't
soon
it?
as you break the chocolate, it whiffs.
I know, it's not nice.
Hang on. Something's happening. Something's happening.
Oh, my God. Something...
Woman, a scorpion!
Scorpion's
God,
gone.
I can lick it.
I don't know.
A scorpion's known for forward rolls.
Definitely.
Oh, yes, Sarah, you're
yeah.
showing your ignorance there. They're very famous for their forward roll.
I've tried a scorpion, I've tried an ant,
Well done.
and that's it.
All right.
That's like the start of a really bad musical.
Tried a scorpion,
Tried the scorpion,
an
tried
ant.
the...
That's it! Try a bug. No.
Jimmy Carr, what have you eaten?
I haven't tried anything. I mean,
Now I'm an insect sycophant.
so have you had anything, Sarah? Have you had
No.
No, Sarah.
You should try an ant, really.
I think you should have an ant.
You should try an
No,
ant.
well, you're not my mum, so... Well, you might all end up with superpowers, but, you know, you'll need somebody to save.
No,
Oh, that's true.
No,
So-
we need somebody to push us round. We'll need some home help once we get our superpowers. We'll all be delirious.
It'll be champion.
Oh, goodness. All right.
Remember, never put anything in your mouth that hasn't been boiled. I thought that was an old mother's thing.
Really?
My mum said you don't have to put anything in your mouth you don't want to.
Well,
That was my
Talking to the man with the
sex chat.
scorpion lolly.
That was your sex chat.
Yeah.
Didn't mention your vagina then.
no,
just your
no.
Where's the wee machine?
Oh, no.
I don't know what came over me.
Sarah, I'm suggesting...
First time on the show.
I know.
You just said this is my first
Scorpion
time.
up me nunny.
Sarah, if you would just entertain the thought, because if you did, I'm not saying now, I'm not saying now, but if you did 5 minutes before a gynecological appointment, and you went, I've got a bit of an itch.
Yeah. You would be the subject of a medical paper that would be published around the world. You would be the miracle woman. Anyway,
Well, the one thing is, that shrimp is now looking like it's going, oh,
She's got
There's another round coming up because I don't think I've got another jump in me.
it'll take him... Apparently it'll take him 3 hours to get exhausted. Anyway, from shrimp mills to ant mills. What does an ant mill do? Have you heard of an ant mill? Can you imagine
ground
an ant mill?
ground ants. Some
Ground ants.
Delicious, sir.
We'd like some
Did
ground
they make
ants.
bread?
They don't make bread, no. No, what happens is occasionally they lose the pheromone trail that the leaders of the foragers have, and they start following each other in a circle. And the circle just goes round and round and round and round until they die. They just get completely stuck
What,
in
like
a
an
loop.
ultimate conga?
Yes.
I'll knock you down.
There was one observed in the 1920s. It was 1,200 feet in circumference. It took 2.5 hours for the ant to complete a whole circuit. And they were just going round and round and round. And they just, they just follow the one in front.
Like dads at a wedding.
Yes, basically.
So if one of them was a bit down
Yeah.
and wanted to take some others with it,
Yes, it could lead them on a false trail. Absolutely. Wouldn't that be beastly of it?
I've got a rule, like, if it comes in my house, then I'm allowed to kill it.
Right.
Trespassing.
So how many Jehovah's Witnesses have you got?
laughing, but
Under the floorboards, yes.
But if it's outside, then I have to leave it alone, because technically I'm in its house. That's
Oh, that's a
how I
rather
see
sweet
it.
way of looking at it. Anyway, ants in an ant mill follow each other around in a circle until they die. Why shouldn't you breathe, or excuse me, what shouldn't you breathe in? What shouldn't you breathe in if you're a stink ant?
Well, is it your own?
Your friend's anus.
I think that's a general rule. I don't have to...
You don't have to be a stink ant. It's a really weird life cycle, this. It's a really creepy and unpleasant life cycle that the stink ant is a victim of. It spends its life in the rainforests of Cameroon, foraging on the ground, you know, eating bits of leaf mould and generally having a perfectly reasonable life. And way up in the canopy somewhere is this spore. And occasionally, like that, and, you know, fungus, and millions of these
Oh, shit.
things drop down. And if the ant breathes it in, it eats the ant from inside, and it starts with the brain, and it sends the ant a bit mad. And it does something that the ant would never otherwise do. It makes the ant climb the tree. So the ant climbs the tree until it gets to a certain height, and it's kind of programmed its brain. It sounds insane. The ant then puts its mandibles into the tree and waits to die. And then the spore keeps growing and growing, and it pushes a shoot out of what was once the brain of this poor ant. It's eaten all its other soft parts, and this great shoot comes out, which produces more spore that drops down and drags up more ants. And we've got a picture, just in case you don't believe me, of a poor ant.
You've done a picture of this happening.
This is a real thing. This is the ant itself. They're climbing up, looking a bit unfortunate, but you'll be able to see, this is it here. It's being eaten from the inside, and there is the spore growing out of what was once its brain, and you can see the rest of its body has been eaten. And that is, and there's that spore growing out, and then it eventually stops and starts, the whole thing starts again. What a weird and cruel thing, isn't it? Isn't that amazing?
Sad.
It's like when people say there must be a God because of skylarks and water voles. You say, and because of that. It's called cordyceps, is the name of this particular fungus. And that's its life cycle, is basically to rain down onto the forest floor, get breathed in by an ant, make the ant go crazy, climb a tree, and complete the cycle.
Human name. Special brew. that is a good visual representation of what the hangover's like of it, isn't it? Oh, what am I doing up a tree? Oh, my head feels like I'm growing spores.
Imagine if it happened to people.
Oh, my God.
To see someone up and say, oh, no, he's going up a tree.
And all the soft tissues get eaten. Now, as you can see, it's not just the brain, it's all the bits lower down, all the soft tissues.
You just have to let them go.
I'd be really gutted if I breathed it in.
Yeah.
Didn't really climb the tree, fell off and just ended up with a bump. Because there wasn't enough material to fill it. You know, you just wake up and you go, what's that? And you go, oh, nothing.
There's plenty in there, but... And so, to the inevitable backbone of QI, general ignorance. So fingers on buzzers, if you please.
Right.
Name a vertebrate with no backbone.
Nick Clegg. Vertebrate without a backbone.
A vertebrate without a backbone. It seems an impossibility, like there is something that is classified as a vertebrate that has no backbone.
Worms.
No big...
Like a whale or something?
Well, it's not a mammal. It is a fish, though. Big fish.
Shark.
Eel.
Dolphin?
A
still a
dolphin
mammal?
isn't really a fish, to be honest, is it?
Well, it looks like one.
It looks like one, I agree.
Stingray.
Well, stingrays and mantises actually don't have them, but it's the shark. Sharks are vertebrates. They're classified as vertebrates. They neither have rib cages nor do they have backbones. They have things that look very like a backbone, but they're half the weight of bone. They're cartilaginous matter with connective tissue. And there you can see a little cross-section of a shark.
He doesn't look very happy, does he?
No, it's a very cross-section.
You see the thing there, sort of right behind his eye? Just right behind his eye, going all the way back to his tail, along his back, that looks like a bone.
Yeah, that's
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know it's not bone, though. It is, as I say, it's not actual bone. It's cartilaginous matter. Go cartilage, as we would say in England. But anyway, that's all I have to say on that subject. So, there we are.
Well, fine.
Next one.
Let that be an end to it.
Yes. What's the strongest creature for its weight in the world?
Oh,
Jeff.
flea?
Jeff Capes.
Jeff Capes. Good. There is a stronger man than Jeff Capes
Fire
in the world at the moment. Zydrunas zaviscus, who
Can he pull a lorry along with
a
his
70-ton plane, but that's only 411 times his own weight, and obviously has to have wheels, whereas this creature can pull a force equal to 100,000 times its body weight. When I say creature, I mean it is a living thing, but it's not it's not even an insect, it's even
Not going to
tinier.
be our old friend bacteria.
It's a
again.
bacterium. It's a bug in that sense, yeah. And it's not one you want to catch, let's be honest. It's one that would be most unwelcome in the trouser department.
Crabs.
No, it's an actual bacterium, not an insect.
It's a gonorrhea.
Gonorrhea is the right answer. For
The
some
strongest
reason.
thing in the world.
Yeah, the gonorrhea
Pulls
bacterium.
down your pants and flies around.
That's your excuse for catching
Seriously,
it.
love, I didn't stand a chance.
Strip me bare. Look at how
Ow.
strong they are.
Apparently, they have these bundles of long, thin, contractile filaments called piles. And
Why is all that toast on the...
And they use these to crawl, and they can pull along 100,000 times their weight, which is a very small weight, admittedly, but nonetheless, there used to be an awful cure. Do you know what the cure for gonorrhea used to be? Yeah. They put a sort of umbrella up the urethra, press a button to sort of open the umbrella bit inside the shaft of the penis,
No one
and then
needs to
pull
hear it.
out.
We've heard it. We don't need to
Oh,
hear
no,
it.
I'd like to hear it. Tell us again.
You can only do it if they're in your house.
And if you had a particularly unsympathetic doctor, he'd then jump around the room going, I'm sick. I'm sick.
Yes. So,
And then they would
And he'd
cover.
splash in your own tears.
yeah.
They then cover it in chocolate and sell it as ants.
Dear me. Yeah, that's enough of gonorrhea, I feel. What do oyster catchers mainly eat? Yes.
Oysters?
Right.
They're just misnamed oyster catchers.
What, do they
It's not
catch
their main diet.
other shells?
Yes, cockles and mussels mostly.
Are they just not very good at catching the oysters?
They just love a cockle. They,
Are they mainly cockneys?
no, a huge percentage of European ones actually are in Britain. And the amount they catch, it's astonishing. Each oyster catcher can get 500 cockles a day, and given that half of the European population is in Britain, it's more than 300,000 birds, that's a potential seasonal consumption of 8.9 million tonnes of cockles.
I love a cockle.
I love cockle. Oh, in vinegar, just
a little stick.
Pint of them, yep, that's it. Gorgeous.
From a
Slightly
man, from a
gritty.
man in a little mobile
Yeah.
kiosk.
A little hint of grittiness sometimes in
A
it.
little bit of vinegar.
Yeah. Anyway, which animal has the most genes?
There's Lynham.
Oh, God.
Jeremy Clarkson. he's
Jeremy
got loads.
Clarkson.
Clark.
That's unfortunate.
Seems to take a while, doesn't it?
It's to do with the age, it's not to do with the complexity.
Yes, it may
That's
be.
Jeremy Clarkson.
Because some plant has got loads more genes than us.
Yes, there are quite a few things that have a lot more genes than us. The fruit fly has many more genes than we do. This is actually just a little water flea.
And don't they think that's because of the age, that it's just been around for so long, it's mutated all these different times?
Yeah, 8,000 more genes than the human genome. It's quite a lot. It doesn't do much. It lies around. Very
Carries its own umbrella.
It carries its own umbrella. And it's a very important part of the food chain in water. It's eaten by fish. And
You can imagine the fish going, you can taste those extra genes.
now, why are moths attracted to light?
Because they use the moon to navigate.
Oh, Alan, well done. You're good at this. Very good.
But I just feel that
But that's not true. You know why moths are
it would have
attracted
come
to
up. Someone
Yes.
would have told me.
Yes, you're right. There are various theories. One is that they're used to the moon and that other sources of light disorient it, and they use the moon for navigation.
They use the moon for
It does
navigation,
seem odd that they only
and when
come
they
out at
fly
night.
up
I mean,
to get
if they
height,
saw the sun, they would love it.
Yes, you do.
they bang into the light
In the morning
bulb
they go,
because well, if they flew up
Because the
towards
amount they like my bedside
the moon
lamp.
would be so far
Exactly.
away.
I mean,
they
they
just
love my
gain
bedside lamp,
proper
but
maybe that's why
height.
they-
significantly bigger than my bedside lamp.
Maybe
twice the
that's why
sun.
they don't, though, because if they went for the sun, I mean, they would all just go for the sun, wouldn't they? And then they would just fly into the atmosphere, and that would be a disaster.
Yes, some people believe that different
They're
sources of light
detect
confuse our
pheromones
navigation
of
system.
females
Others think that the moth
mate
may
with.
think the light is the moon. Others think the moths are attracted to the light because the infrared spectrum in things like candles may contain a few of the same frequencies of light that are given off by a female moth's pheromones. But they're all theories. Fact is, nobody really knows.
I like their ambition. I like to think that they think it's the moon and they go, I could make it.
Yeah?
Yes, I suppose I just
Bloody
blind
do that,
one
look
of
at
the
these, come
thieves.
on.
If you try and catch one, you know, if you're trying to kill it, like I do, because it's in the house.
If it's in the house, yeah.
And then you turn the light off. I always feel really guilty because it's as if they go.
Yeah. So, nobody knows. And that mystery of what nobody knows brings us to the eternal mystery of the scores and how fascinating they are. In a resolute last place with minus 24 is Mr. Jimmy Carr. Almost teetering on the brink of plusness is Alan with minus 1. And Sarah Millican's first performance has been astonishing with plus 2. But tonight's winner with plus 4 is Johnny Vegas!